how to actually rescue your relationships with one simple strategy. This strategy is a relationship saver, and it's not even all that hard to do. I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins. My entire business is built around saving and enriching your 7 key relationships through principles of positivity. I'll give you the background first, then I'll share the strategy that I promised, along with a 5-part formula to implement it immediately. When we're talking about relationships, conflicts come from differences. That makes sense, right? Differences. We have different preferences, different understandings, different ideas, different cultures, different backgrounds. But it's differences that make us relevant and interesting to each other. They're actually essential to having a relationship. Look, if everybody's the same, there's no reason to have a relationship with anybody. It's the differences that make us relevant and interesting to each other. But it's also differences that cause conflicts. So we have to find different ways to deal with those conflicts. Conflicts can easily turn into problems because of misunderstandings. And bad communication is often the culprit for why we have the misunderstandings in the first place. When you understand how communication works, look, there's always a sender and a receiver. And the sender is where the message originates. The receiver is where it's going. But there's a lot of things that can go wrong in the process. First of all, the sender has to encode the message. Usually we use language, like I'm encoding today's message in English. There you go. Well, English is a code, right? So I'm encoding the message on this side, and then I send it over to you where you have to decode it. And the decoding is just as important as the encoding. So if you don't have decoder for English, you can't understand what I'm saying. Jos minä puhun teille suomeksi, te ette ymmärrä sitä, paitsi että olet suomalainen. Now, when I kick into a different code, it's hard for you to decode it. Unless you have a Finnish decoder, you probably didn't understand what I just said. So encoding, decoding. Now, before it even gets across the gap, it has to go through this cloud of noise to get there. And there's a lot of things that interfere with us actually having effective communication with each other. I could give you a whole mini class or training on communication. You know what? I'm going to give you a little freebie. This is the communication cheat sheet. It's a little 1-page summary of the 5-part process that I'm going to share with you in just a minute. You can go get a free PDF copy of this. Just go to the URL on the screen, drpauljenkins.com/communication. I'll put it right in your inbox, and then you'll have the cheat sheet. And while you're at it, take a minute to hit the subscribe button here. I've got other videos that are coming out in the near future to support exactly what we're talking about here. So subscribe and share as well. So here's the strategy that I promised you. This one simple strategy that can miraculously save relationships. Here it is. Listen first to understand. Oh, what a revelation, right? Listening is going to get it done. Now, listen, the word listen has the same letters as the word silent. Well, that's interesting. It's probably just a coincidence. But a lot of times when we're being silent, we're not actually listening to understand. We're trying to think up our response, our rebuttal to what's being said right now, or we're listening just to find the hole so that we can jump in and say what we want to say. No, listening to understand is an active, intentional process where you're trying to connect with what the sender is trying to send over to you as the receiver. We want idea A that originates in the sender's mind to equal A in the receiver's mind, your mind. Usually what happens is because of the encoding and the decoding and all the noise in between, A turns out to be B. And then we respond to B. We respond to our own understanding. And if we haven't clearly understood what the sender is sending, that's where the problems erupt. Okay, so that's the strategy. Listen to understand. Now, this requires a higher level of maturity than a lot of people have. And I think the reason for that is we usually go into a conversation with the agenda of getting our point across. Yeah, it's totally normal. That's what most people do. The problem is if you have two people coming into that communication and they both want to get their point across, who's going to listen? Well, we got an answer to that. You're going to listen. You're going to listen first to understand. Take your own agenda, set it aside for just long enough to make sure that the other person feels understood before you move on. Powerful. And this is a relationship-saving strategy. Now, here's the 5-part formula that I promised you as a way to implement what we're talking about. And you'll find this on the communication cheat sheet that I already told you about, drpauljenkins.com/communication. Go get your copy of it so that you can refer back to it. And here's the process. It starts with, don't be a bear. Meaning, don't come into the communication high and hot. You want to come in low and cool, all right? If you're snarling, if you have your face in a position that communicates anger or disdain or distrust, if your voice is high and aggressive, that's what I mean by don't be a bear. Our brains are designed to keep us safe. And whoever you're interacting with, when they see that bear coming at them, they're going to naturally get really defensive and they're going to try to resist or push against you to keep themselves safe. So don't be a bear. That's the first part. Second, don't see a bear. Even if the other person is snarling and being aggressive, get yourself into a place where you can see them as a human, as someone who has feelings and has some strong feelings even about the thing that they're trying to communicate to you. And instead of resisting that like you would if it was a bear coming at you, you don't see a bear, you see a human, and so you put yourself in a position of empathy so that you can listen to understand. Now, we want to reduce the noise, so this is the third part of the process. Get rid of as much noise as you can. When you're listening to understand, put away the distractions. Set aside your digital device. Try to go to a place that's not full of noise or distractions. This shows that you really care and so that you can listen to understand, which is the fourth part of the process. That's when you're in a position, if you're not being a bear, if you're not seeing a bear, and if you've eliminated most of the noise, then you can listen to understand. Take an extra step at that point to express your understanding. And then finally, number 5 in the process is to express to be understood. Same goal, actually, understanding. We're not expressing to persuade or convince or rebut or disprove whatever they just said. It's just so that we can be understood as well. Hopefully that 5-part process will help you to actually implement this strategy. Listen to understand. That will accomplish so much in helping to save and enrich your key relationships.